founding member of the Baker Brigade. Because let's talk about Baker, okay? What a great way to start this off, because Billy, speaking of Baker Mayfield, did you know that he won the NFC Offensive Player of the Week? Baker Mayfield did? Did you also know that he is the only visiting quarterback to go into Lambeau Field, the frozen tundra, where Brett Favre has been there and done crazy things. Aaron Rodgers has gone there and done crazy things. Bart Starr has gone there and done crazy things. And he's the only visiting quarterback to go in there and go, you know what, let me drop a 158.3. Let me drop a perfect passer rating. Only quarterback in NFL history. And the Packers have been around for a pretty long time, Billy. And Baker said, let me bake. Let me bake. 381 yards, 4 touchdowns, Billy. What? So much joy. So
Yeah.
much joy, right?
Well, like you said, let him bake. He was heating up the frozen tundra on Sunday.
Oh, he
But
was.
his performance was obviously, I mean, best of the season, probably the best of his entire career. And it feels a little vindicating for people who have been in the I don't want to say the pro Baker camp. I know you're very pro Baker. I like to just think I'm pro, like, let's be fair and let's be reasonable camp. So for the people like me who have been, hey, let's just give this guy a chance, it's nice to feel that level of vindication when you see him actually deliver a performance like that following a game-winning touchdown pass the week before. So for Baker, yeah, and I gotta imagine it feels really good for him too, because actually right before the game, because the last 2 weeks prior to this past Sunday, he had very low completion percentages, and then the Bucs were 2-0 in those games, Panthers and Falcons, but Baker wasn't necessarily killing it statistically. And there were people who were kind of talking about, let's cut the cord, let's move on. This is who he is. And for Baker, I think it's probably got to feel real good for him to kind of put those people back in their place. It's got to feel good.
And I will say this. Look, whenever the Bucs were 4-7, right? That was fair. Okay, to say like, look, the team isn't winning games right now. It's not a great spot. If they lose, drop to 4-8, do you think about making that switch? I think that was fair, right? What do the Bucs do? They win 3 straight. And a lot of
Yeah.
people didn't expect them to beat the Packers, Billy. I had
Yeah.
some reservations about it. You had some reservations about it. A lot of Bucs fans had reservations about it, right? 3 straight wins in a very crucial stretch. Now you got 3 left to go, and you're at 500 football. I mean, and this is the peak, right? This was the peak of it all. Not only do you get 3 straight wins, but then you go out there and have a perfect, statistically perfect game in Lambeau. Like, that's
Yeah.
the what do they call it? The culmination of everything, so to
Yeah.
speak. It's the Bucs are peaking at the right time.
Yes. 3 straight wins, two against division rivals in a tight division, and one against a wild card contending opponent, which the Bucs might be in contention for if they don't win the division. So that tiebreaker could also matter. It's just quality wins down the stretch, like you said. And yeah, teams that peak at this point in the season are the dangerous teams come playoff time. I'm not saying too much. I'm just simply saying that you want to be hitting your stride right now. You don't want to peak in October. You don't want to peak pre-Thanksgiving. This is when you want to be at your best, and the Buccaneers look as good as they have ever looked. So I think, yeah, it's got to feel like there's a little bit of like a growing swell of momentum for Tampa right now.
Yet not only are the Bucs peaking, but like again, Baker is like you said
Yeah.
it, like a game-winning touchdown against Atlanta. That was tough. This game
Yep.
against the Packers, that was beautiful. I mean, that's basically a work of art. I mean,
Yes.
it's just I'm at a loss of words. It's
And it's underrated. The Carolina Panthers win, that was a gritty win. It's kind of a gross game. It was the conditions
I
were
was there.
horrendous throwing the football. Of course, Mr. Bucks Nation, the one and only, braving the elements.
It wasn't
But
fun. Well,
that's a gross game to have to play in. And, you got to give credit to a team who pulls out gross wins, gritty wins like that. Those aren't the easiest ones to get, even if it is a bad opponent. It's a divisional opponent. Those are always tough. We just saw what the Falcons and the Panthers game look like in similar conditions, right? So anything can happen on any Sunday. For the Bucs to pull that win out, I don't. That's a slept on victory in my mind.
What you're starting to see with Baker winning this NFC Player of the Week, with him having that perfect game statistically in Lambeau, um, Billy, the past couple of days, I've been seeing ESPN talk about Baker and the Bucs. I've been seeing all the Skip Bayless talking about Baker and the Bucs, like in a positive way.
Yes.
Dan Orlovsky's coming out here. Chris Long has his own
Yeah.
podcast and came out here and said some really awesome things about Baker and the Bucs. Like people are getting with it a little bit, which is so cool to see, right?
I'm so glad you mentioned that on Monday Night Football, which was abysmal. Oh, I'm sorry. Not Monday. I'm sorry. Monday Night Football is not abysmal. I got confused. But on Monday Night Football, Troy Aikman and Joe Buck actually made reference to Baker Mayfield. And it was just like a subtle comment about Baker's elite performance at Green Bay. And that right there, like those moments, those are the moments that really, I think, will weigh into the decision of ownership and Jason Light to keep Baker Mayfield around. Because the Buccaneers are not a big media market franchise. So, in order to get headlines and get in the news cycle, they need personality. They need a character. They need someone that people gravitate towards, someone that people care about. Baker Mayfield's name has cachet attached to it. People know who he is. And if he performs, the Bucs grab headlines. If the Bucs win with Baker Mayfield, they're the talk of, not the A block on Monday morning, but like the C block on Monday morning shows like Good Morning Football. And I think that's important to a team like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to be in that news cycle. And Baker Mayfield, he's showing you he's got the potential to get you into that news cycle.
Yeah. So hey, congrats to Baker Mayfield winning that NFC Player of the Week. That was awesome. You love to see that, right? That's great. And just continues to showcase the momentum that the Bucs are building, and really Baker building momentum to be like, hey, not only am I just a guy that the Bucs can rely on, but kind of getting some national recognition as well now. And that's great. You love to see that.